Hi, I'm Izzy. Welcome back to the Gleeson First Time Buyer podcast. We've created this podcast to help you on your home ownership journey, and we'll be covering everything from interior tips to finance advice and everything in between, with some amazing guests joining us along the way. You'll be able to find our podcast on all the most common streaming services, but also on our YouTube channel, which you can find by searching Gleeson Homes. In today's podcast, we're back with Justin from Meridian Mortgages, who is here to talk to us all about the schemes available to help you get onto the property ladder. We'll also be touching on the government-backed Help to Buy equity loan coming to an end. So, welcome back, Justin.
Thank you for having me back.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. Could you please introduce yourself to our new listeners?
I can. I'm Justin. I work for Meridian Mortgages, who are new build mortgage specialists, Gleeson's recommended brokers. My role is major account director, and basically I look after the relationship between Meridian and Gleeson's.
Amazing. So in this episode, I'm hoping you can shed some light on some of the buying schemes available to our first-time buyers. So if I'm right, there is shared ownership.
Yep.
There is the Help to Buy equity loan. There is deposit unlock, first homes, and probably more that you'd be able to say than I can. So if you want to just kind of...
Yeah, so we'll start with Help to Buy, because Help to Buy equity loan is probably the one that a lot of people use.
Right.
And it's a scheme that's been on the go since 2013. And effectively, it's an equity loan from the government up to 20%, and customers use that towards the purchase of a new build house. Mm-hmm. And in terms of the loan itself, it's interest-free for the first 5 years.
Right.
It's an equity loan, so there aren't any monthly repayments to pay back. Mm-hmm. What you pay back is linked to the value of the house.
Right.
So if the house goes up in value, you'd pay back more. But likewise, if the value of the house went down, you'd pay back less. So it's linked to that value of the house. Typically, it's a 25-year loan. If your mortgage is slightly longer, it will tie in with your mortgage term. But it's a really utilised scheme for first-time buyers. First-time buyers only need 5% deposit to go alongside the 20% equity loan.
Right.
So therefore, a lot of customers like it because it's that lower deposit amount. The other thing is, mortgage-wise, they're borrowing 75% of the value of the house, and therefore the interest rates are a little bit more competitive, and that helps in the monthly repayments.
Okay. So the Help to Buy equity loan is coming to an end.
It is.
Am I right? So what's going to happen?
Panic. That's a really good question. In terms of finishing, yes, finishes March 2023.
Right.
And so that is the deadline for the last completions to go through. What will happen after that? I'd love a crystal ball to know all the answers.
Yeah.
But I think, there are other schemes out there that customers can utilise that will help get them on the ladder. Definitely. So, I think there's definitely life after Help to Buy, and the market will continue. Yeah. Probably the one that rolls into that is deposit unlock.
Yep.
Gleeson's are in the process of joining deposit unlock. Basically, it gives customers access to a 95% mortgage.
Okay.
High loan-to-value mortgages on new build are quite restricted.
Yeah.
That's because of the way the banks profile the risk. And deposit unlock will enable a customer to borrow 95% on a mortgage, only need a 5% deposit, and purchase the house that way.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, effectively, deposit unlock has got an insurance policy in place that should the customer ever default on their mortgage, i.e. they don't pay it, then the lender's got some protection that they're not going to end up out of pocket.
Okay, that's an interesting one.
So, but it gives that customer the ability to borrow that higher amount, and get onto the ladder.
Okay, so as well as Help to Buy, deposit unlock, do you want to talk through First Homes and that scheme a bit
So
more?
First Homes is another government initiative. It's currently in phase 2 of its pilot scheme. And First Homes was created by the government to create an affordable housing tenure for life. Effectively, properties are sold 30% under value.
Right.
So if let's say the open market value was 100,000, the 30% discount would drop that purchase price down to 70,000.
Okay.
And so at that point, it means that within an area there is affordable housing for young first-time buyers. The scheme is designed for first-time buyers, but there's also an element where individuals have to have either a local connection to the area they're buying in, they need to be a key worker, or a member of the armed forces.
Okay. And are these schemes, I know you've said that there are some of them are specific to first-time buyers. Are any of them specific to new builds or?
So Help to Buy and First Homes are both specific to new build.
Right.
I think once we get through the pilot phase of First Homes, we'll start to see that being delivered through planning.
Yep.
And it'll be more common.
Yeah.
And builders, when they're doing their plan layout for a new site, there'll probably be an element of First Homes that the council require them to have.
Okay. And are there any other schemes out there for first-time buyers for new builds?
I think shared ownership.
Yeah.
So that's where the customer purchases a share of the property. With Gleeson's, typically that minimum share is 50%.
Right.
And they then pay a rent on the part that they don't buy. And so it opens up the ability for younger, lower earning customers to get on the market, purchase an initial share in a property, rent the remainder, and in the future they can do a process called staircasing, and staircasing enables them to buy further shares in the property up to the point where they own 100% of the house.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't actually know that. I thought shared ownership. I didn't think it was that. I didn't think you ended up owning it at the end.
Yeah, no, you can. You can. So it depends upon the individual. Some people might go, it's a stepping stone, going to live in it for 2-3 years and then sell the share and move. But customers have the ability to staircase and buy the rest of the equity in the house. Yeah.
Amazing. Is there any other schemes, or have we touched on?
I think we've touched on all of them.
Yeah.
I think probably there's the other one that is in the horizon is a scheme called Market Mortgage.
Okay.
Market Mortgage, again, very similar to Deposit Unlock, where it gives the customer the ability to borrow 95%.
Yep.
And again, it's about that life after Help to Buy.
Yep.
And how can customers get on the market with lower deposit amounts?
Yeah.
You know, saving can be challenging at the best of times. Obviously, increased living costs at the moment makes it that little bit tougher. Yeah. So how can customers get on the market with that lower deposit amount? And some of these schemes will enable them to do that.
So thank you for joining me today in part 2, talking about mortgages.
Thank you for having me.
Hope you've enjoyed yourself.
Been good.
Join me next week where you'll hear part 3 of our chat with Justin, where he'll be answering questions submitted by our listeners in a recent Instagram story. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast on all the most common streaming sites and to follow us on Instagram @Gleeson.homes so you don't miss an episode. See you next week.